Oh!
Let me scoot in.
This way.
Yeah.
Move this
This
way.
way. There we go.
You guys,
Oh, there we are.
welcome to the show.
Woo!
Welcome to Henshin
Shit, hang out. Henshin Hangout.
You guys, thank you so much for joining us on this lovely Saturday night. You could be anywhere else in the world, but you're here with us, and
We appreciate that.
gotta do it. You guys, how's your week going?
Woo, good. Busy, as always. You?
A lot to talk about.
It's
a lot
good.
to
It's
talk
going
about.
good. It's going good.
We got that new Infinity, new Avengers show, but we also got a lot of screen captures of the new Super Sentai series coming
Whoa.
up.
Oh, not only screen captures, but we got some like toy previews and some other cool things like that as well.
We have an idea what the suits are going to look. We know what the suits are going to look. We know what the robots are going to look like. We know what the change device is going to look like. We have a title. We don't have characters yet, but you know what?
They're casting.
This is the fun part now. This is every December as a Sentai fan.
Yeah, 'cause everything just starts rolling in.
They start rolling in, and every time it's December, actually every time it's like October, it's like, all right,
It's like Christmas.
the rumors time.
It's like Christmas
What's the
time.
theme? What's the next thing? It's time to what are we getting excited for in January?
I feel like this Lupinranger versus Patranger, it went by really quickly.
Isn't that funny?
No.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I know it dragged, but I felt like with Q Ranger, it was like this whole thing. We were watching this for a good year or so, and like, you know, it felt like a year. This one, I don't know if it's like everything just ran together because everything was so similar, but it just, you know, breezed right through.
It's a weird period for me because it's like I just feel like we just start these shows, and then now I have to start wrapping my head around the show's ending. We gotta move on. I gotta think about another series all over again.
That is true though. Like Loki is kind of weird because when I came onto this show, like my first Henshin Hangout was actually the first episode of Pato versus Lupin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was the very first
That's
episode. So it's kind of like call coming full circle and whatnot.
Yeah.
So this has been a heck of a ride.
There is one
A lot of
thing.
disappointment though. Lot of disappointment though.
There is one thing I am very scared of, though. Very scared.
What's that?
Now, the Super Sentai looks cool. It looks like, I mean, we're going back to
We are Super Chat!
yes. Are you done with the Dino Sentai teams?
No.
No.
You're not
No.
done.
You're not done with
No.
that.
Why is that?
Give me a Ranger team of just all Raptors.
Really?
Like once the Blue Ranger chart. Come on, Blue. I'd be all on board for it.
What do you think the reasoning is for going back to a Dino team?
Safe.
Safe.
Makes money.
Is there like the background? Is there for Super Sentai? Are they hitting like a little bit of a snag as far as like?
First off, hey, look, these are our team. This is our new team, Ryuusouger.
They look. I like the colors. I like the silver accents to these Rangers.
I feel here. Let's not lie. Sentai has been struggling. It's been struggling in Japan as much as Ranger kind of has been struggling in America, and maybe not as much. But let's just say this: Sentai is in trouble a little bit, and I feel like this conversation has happened every year when one Sentai show ends and another one's going to begin. That there's trouble and everyone's like saying, "Oh no, it's over. It's going to be all done." And right now, I think it's safe to say that here's some truth. Lupat has some of the lowest toy sales in the franchise history.
It's
Not
'cause they
surprised.
look terrible.
Not surprised. Yeah.
I mean,
half the team looks terrible. Like literally, you're only selling 3 toys.
And listen,
technically, you're only selling one. Sorry, but go ahead.
Well, no, it's like they don't even make action figures of the suit characters anymore. All they do is toys of robots and change devices. And listen, I'm not gonna lie, those aren't that great either.
They're not because it's like, may I?
Please.
Because here's the thing, though, as I was watching today's episode, and we'll get into it in a moment, I enjoyed the Zord battle, but as I saw him switching things out, I was like, the thing about this was that these like new pieces that you're attaching on here don't make any sense. Like the thieves are usually we have the water pump and we have this.
Yeah,
and
there's no theme. The aesthetic is like all up.
Exactly.
Everywhere.
It was like you just have random Zords.
And it looks clunky.
Exactly. Because you think about this, like I want to give a great example of this was in America, Power Rangers Wild Force.
Yeah.
Wild Force kept adding different animals, but it was just different animals because they were animal themed.
Yep.
So if you have the thieves should be receiving thief type upgrades, and the police should be receiving police type upgrades.
Yes.
But it doesn't make any sense because then we give like an actual theme to it. By the time we put all of them together, it will look like, for example, go back to Transformers, like the Protector Bots when they perform. What was their Defensor? Thank you.
Thank you.
So, like, for example, when the Predacons formed, and then or when the Constructicons formed.
Constructicons.
Look, I just want to be real. I know the names of these people. I just love hearing them saying, "Oh, when the Aerobots formed." That's my man.
Thank you, Nigam. Thank you, Nigam.
Now, but here's the thing, though.
Yeah,
so going with that, though, that's the problem. And
Yeah.
then I would also say this, and give me your feedback on this. I would say the other big problem is, though, is that use like sports terminology or whatever, you just like won the championship. And when they won the championship, that was Go Kyger. And because again, you were able to bring in all the previous Sentais, you were able to like pay homage to everything. You had these awesome power upgrades. You like kind of tie everything together. But then after that, you kind of go back to the old formula.
Yeah.
It feels like again, even if you go back and say like with Q-Ranger, like let's have 10 or 12 different Rangers. It's like guys, you just established you have a shared universe here. You kind of have to start building stories from a shared universe perspective. Possibly.
I mean, I'll make the argument. You don't have to do that.
Okay,
I'll make the argument for that because at the end of the day, Sentai doesn't. Each Sentai show, after 5 years, there's a thing of like rotation for audience every 5 years, and the fact that like and Go Kaicher has been now 5 years, and part of my thing that I love about Sentai that even Power Rangers adapted at a certain point was, you know what, this show is your show. You don't have to worry about continuity. There was a period where Power Ranger was, but you don't have to worry about continuity. You just have to worry about just the show you're currently watching.
Right.
So, I think the best thing that, and I agree with you though, the best thing about what Go Kaiser did is it had some of the best toys and had the widget, the cool little gimmicky thing that is so perfect that was this small little thing that looked like an action figure. Yes, I'm talking about the Ranger keys. That is super collectible.
Exactly.
And fun to have. I had a couple years of that was my mission statement. I was trying to find all the Ranger keys, Red Rangers, because I don't want to kill myself trying to get full teams. But every year since then was them chasing that success.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Dino Charge, aka Kyoryuger, the battery. You know, and let's keep in mind, Go Busters was the show following that show.
Yeah,
it was
the
following
Spy one.
The Spy one following Go Busters. Go Busters was the show following Go Kaiser, and that show, and I'm going through it. I'm digging it. I think it's a really good show.
Do they have a collectible? Like,
They do not. Go Busters did underperformed.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No.
I was gonna say the thing about Go Busters was it was kind of like a scaling back. It like minimized things.
Yeah.
Because you start off with a 3 Ranger team. They were spies. They had the robot counterparts and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so yeah, they kind of minimized
That's
things.
why I think that why Hasbro picked it up because this is their transition period.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But to go back to Justin's point too, though, like so, I agree with what you're saying because like Sentai, it comes with this cool like wave. Where it's like okay, we're going to age with the audience, and then we're going to reset for the new audience to come in.
Yeah.
But I think the problem with that is though, and you guys can give your feedback on this, is that in today's like digital age, we can go back and like learn so many different things. It's kind of like you have like one collective audience at the same time who's going to learn everything instantly.
Yeah.
In addition to that, though, I kind of pair it to like shonen in a way.
Sure.
Like for example, the shonen formula is always like you have the hero, right? The hero is going to go against villains, but they're going to train, believe in friendship, and train and get harder and defeat their villains. It's kind of like the Dragon Ball Z formula. We see it in like other things as well, Naruto. But to use an example like the world's most popular manga series, One Piece kind of flips it on its head.
Yeah.
Because not only does it have the main character get stronger, it's like, no. We have a lot of main characters.
Yes.
And not only that, though, but we have this like ever-long story, this goal they're going after, which they may never be done with because they have to keep defending like these captives against these captives and whatnot. And this world keeps getting bigger and bigger and expanding upon itself. It takes the shonen formula, stays true to it while expanding upon it and building upon it. And I agree with you, but I kind of feel that's what Sentai needs to do. They need to expand upon what they're doing.
But because they keep all their stories central to
the show,
the
yeah.
current season.
Yeah.
And do they do the same thing with Kamen Rider where it's a different writing group every single time?
Yep. And I don't think that's a problem. I think there's just that for me, it's like the strength of the show and the gimmick, and I feel like I'm not gonna lie. I feel like Bandai has too much control over what needs to happen with the toy lines and the toy ideas and toy gimmicks that hinders the shows.
And so it's like Bandai is the one that creating the stories and like dictating, what the series is going to be.
Yeah, that's my personal feeling on that.
You see, that's a bad thing, but it doesn't always have to be a bad thing, though, if you get the right writers. Like, for example, Transformers had the exact same problem. Transformers is nothing but every 22-minute toy commercial every week.
Yeah.
The original one was, but the cool thing about it was, and so was He-Man, but they had people like Paul Dini in the writer's room who was like, no, we're going to do some cool emotional stories.
Right.
Like, we're going to sell this toy when we have to, but guess what? We're still going to put some emotional, impactful moments at the same time.
But, I mean, and that's... We can say that too, but I mean, like, there's other part of me where it's, I feel like they also have to produce 40-some episodes a year. And at a certain point, no matter how good you are, I got a feeling that at some point, like, something gets in the way, be it the toy company, be it the studio, that screws up your plan. I love Build. I want to bring something up. I love Build. Love Build. But I can't help but go, like, was the original plan to always reuse the same Smash suits or was that a budgetary decision?
Ooh.
Because I can't believe
Like,
that.
You don't think that revisiting these characters was...
Not even the characters, just the suits. At a certain point, some people just turned into the same Smash.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that really a story decision, or was that a budgetary cut that was pushed more by creating more money for a new suit and a new power-up because the toy company needed that over making a new monster every week?
But you know what's I agree with you. But you know what's interesting though is that you bring this up, and I just realized that now. But as we were watching build, I never noticed it. Like I kind of in the back of my mind was like, "Oh, change the Smash, okay, whatever."
Yeah.
But I was so caught up in the storylines of our heroes, and I was like, "Cool." I never noticed it. It was like for example, we all noticed how Grease never got that power up.
Right.
But again, it was because like the toy line had one thing, but so they were smart. They kind of saved it towards the end, which in a way it put the writers in a corner. But at the same time, it allowed that character to grow in different ways than the rest of the Kamen writers did.
And the reason I definitely caught it is because I've seen so many other writer shows in which they have had different monsters every week. Every week. And so the idea that, like, at one point, they just stopped having monsters as a weekend build. But, hey, regardless of that...
one quick thing. Guys, remember we have that super chat. And so here's the thing, when you give us a super chat, it really helps your comments like stand out.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of great talking going here, and I really want to like address a lot of things since people are just asking great questions.
Right.
Yeah, so if you can, just super chat it because it low-key freezes it for us. It stands it out so we can kind of address some things. Like Bumaka asked me a great question. She asked about my view on Death Note. And Death Note's an example of like, let's take the shonen formula, but flip it on its head where your main character is low-key the villain.
Yeah.
And Death Note's amazing. That's the reason why like I told you guys before I taught it to my students along with Lord of the Flies. Yeah. And so that's an example of how like we can take something and kind of build upon it.
Right.
But let's get back to these though.
Well, okay. How do you what do you guys think overall? All that aside, how do you guys think of these? How do they look to you?
Okay, so the Zord looks a lot like Dino Thunder.
I can see that.
Yeah, it looks like Dino Thunder. I like.
It does with the teeth in the chest.
Originally, there were talks that it was a dragon theme.
There was a rumor about it being dragon theme, and there's another rumor I heard.
It's gonna be dragon theme.
Well, this is definitely dinosaur theme.
Oh, it's definitely dinosaurs.
It's definitely
now?
dinosaur. But I heard a rumor that like it was like the last minute they were so close to committing the dragon, and then someone went no dinosaurs with a saber-tooth tiger.
You can still see dragon.
Yeah, and you see knights as well with the silver and everything like that. They look like knights and everything.
Super Sentai Dragon Knight.
Oh, that looks like egg though. Yeah, so this really started backtracking.
Yeah, I like the suits. The suits are cool.
I think the suits do look cool. Yeah. I think there's echoes of Ranger, aka Dino Thunder, with some of the change device things. Yeah. Actually, some people even brought up the idea that mildly looks like Hyperforce.
Yeah,
mildly looks like Power Rangers Hyperforce.
I can see it.
Honestly, when I saw
the zigzag on the chest.
Honestly, when I saw it, two things popped in my mind. One was the one after Go Busters, the Dino series there.
Kyrie, Dino
Charge. A lot of Dino Charge popped up when I saw the zigzag design. I was like, ugh. And then another one popped into me was SPD.
Yeah,
SPD?
With the numbers and everything like that. Like I looked at it, I was like, oh, it was like.
There's numbers. Am I?
Well, no, I was saying like with their designs, and everything like that. So that immediately popped into my mind.
Oh yeah, see, look at that. It looks very similar.
Yeah,
especially blue, blue and red.
Yeah, blue and red.
Blue and red.
Right now, again, it's as I've learned of all these years of jumping into this genre and watching Tokusatsu and Sentai and Rider, I can't judge the show by aesthetic, by the suits. I can't. No. Right now, it's fun. Right now, it's the fun speculation time. It's like, hey, do I think these guys look cool? And right now, my answer is, I think they look pretty cool.
Yeah.
They're not my favorite suit designs. They don't really stick out at me in like some Sentais.
Can you imagine a premise or like what the story could possibly be?
It's kind of hard now with the dinosaur thing thrown in there. Yeah. Like if it was dragons, like we all assume,
which would have been awesome.
Which would have been awesome. I felt like you should have stuck with that.
How about you guys? Can just based off these screen captures and the pictures of the new suits, can you guys imagine or can you guys think of a premise for this show before? I mean, it's gonna get released soon.
It's January.
Yeah. It's gonna get released soon.
And also, like, you're seeing the photos of the toys. Like, be honest. Do you want to buy these? Yeah. Do these appeal to you as a person who likes Sentai and Ranger?
And just basically, look, they have the little addition things. It looks like it's going to be like the Zords are going to be pick and choose which
Johnny,
just like Dino Charge did.
All right, how about you?
Two things. One, I like the helmets. The helmets look really cool to me. Like that silver on there, and I like that design. It really stands out. It really differentiates them because it reminds me of like the old Power Rangers ones, but it makes it really unique.
Yeah.
Two, I'm liking them Zords.
Yeah.
Like again, like we can go back to like Transformers, like the one with like the green ones on there has a very Predaking type look to it and everything like that. It gives a very like honestly, this seems like a lot more stable to me. It reminds me a lot of I believe it, and we call it Zeo here, Zeo Ranger. Over there was Old Ranger. Yeah. And so it reminds me there where they would switch helmets and stuff like that. It was like ooh, and every time you switch a Zord, maybe it has new powers and abilities. Like you said, Justin, I agree. This is like speculation time.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying this speculation though. Like
I feel
fun. I feel hopeful with this. Like I'll be honest though, like I joined Lupin versus Pata right with the very first episode, so that's why I joined Henshin. But I'll be honest with you, if
we got a super chat!
We got a super chat! Thank you guys so much. So as you can see, Bat2C, he got the right idea. If you guys want your comments read, it slows down the comment feed so we can see your comment. And Bat2C Knight, thank you again for that super chat. You said not a fan of the zipper in the middle look. Yeah.
I mean, I'll put the suit on somehow,
Thanks
right?
again, Bat2C Knight.
Just kidding. That's fine.
No. I can see that.
I can feel it. I hear that. I like the helmet. I'm with you. I dig the helmet for sure.
I like how intricate the suits look.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Now, oh my God, dang it.
What?
Batusi just kind of ruined it for me.
What?
Nice.
If you go back to that last picture and you look at the Silver Ranger at the end right there, especially with the characters right there, it low key looks like it's unzipped look now. It looks like it's unzipped. Oh my gosh!
I will say this:
the Rangers are stripping.
Now, one of the things obviously we've brought up several times with Lupin, and I feel like thankfully this will not. I'm hoping this will not be a problem with the show. Is theming. And the robots in Lupin are oddly themed. We are all agreeing on that. So when you have a show that's Dinosaur Night themed,
you might get something will get lost in translation.
You won't get. This will be they will at least be unfocused on the kind of stuff they're going to be making.
I will say this though. Like it's cool and like you're right. We'll be focused on it, but again, now thinking about story aspect, where do you go? You had Zoo Ranger, you had Dino Charge, and so you have all these different ones, and like
that opens up a great conversation for you guys, for the viewers. Where do you go from here? What type of story would you guys want to see?
When you think about the Zoo Ranger, that was like fantasy RPG Dragon Quest stuff. You think about Abba Ranger, that's kind of further back with the fantasy thing. Then when you think of Kyrie, there is an element. Wow, they're all fantasy. I just realized that.
Yeah.
Almost all of them are like kind of fantasy based. Here, though, with a huge night element that I feel like maybe they're gonna head back to that stuff again. So side note, I'm calling it the Power Rangers season. What we call it Power Rangers Dino Night.
Dino Night.
Cheers. Good job.
Thank you.
Copyright.
So
Send us money, Hasbro.
We would definitely want to hear what you guys would, how you guys would adapt it. So we wanted to do a little fun thing. If you guys want to be part of the conversation, join that hashtag. Yeah, join the team. I want to hear your premise. So you guys send your story, send your premise up to. It doesn't even have to be too long. Just a paragraph, a premise. A premise isn't long.
Let's be clear.
Yeah. Send it up to THS at thathashtag.com.
Right, you're going to put it up?
Right.
Right. Yeah. Son of a gun.
So
right here.
We definitely want to hear what you guys want to say. And this is your way to be part of our team, part of that hashtag show. Kat is a one of our writers. We got
Toku Kid.
They are great. They are great.
And the cool thing about this is a lot of people who like become on-air personalities, they start in the writer's room, they show up talent for it there, and then we start talking to them in person, and then we give them like jobs and whatnot, they build their ways up, and that's how they become on-screen talent.
This is your way to, you guys. I know you guys are all saying, oh, how can I want to be part of the team, I want to be part of the team. This is the way. Yeah. This way, you can do it at the comfort of your own home. Because we love hearing your ideas, especially on Teachers Hashtagers. Like, the conversations in there are just
awesome.
Oh my gosh. To the point where, really, like I was saying on the last show, I really fight jumping in, because but you guys have very colorful ideas, and I love seeing them on Teachers Hashtagers.
I would say this though, one idea I would like to see them explore with this, because it's like the cool thing about this is you do have all these previous dinosaur seasons. As I said, do something, we tie everything together. What if there's like the original Ranger team that used dinosaurs that spread those powers out amongst other people, and then throughout this series they actually call them those old Zords and powers and things like that, and then we get an origin story for exactly why we have so many of them. Because think about it, like the two things that we do have a lot of within Sentai, dinosaurs, ninjas.
Yeah.
They should have all originated from the same tree and branched out and everything. There's some cool origin stories left there.
Because now we have, this is the 4th dino show. We have 3 ninja shows. We have 3 car shows.
Ooh.
Do we have 3 car shows? We have 3 car shows.
Yeah, we do. We
have Turbo Ranger, Car Ranger, and Go Ranger.
Yep.
Ooh, dang. One thing that this is from a different franchise, or also in Hasbro, the Michael Bay Dinobots had a night. They had when they were robots, they had a night theme too.
That's true.
Grimlock was a knight, really.
You're right there.
They had Dinobots?
Yeah. Oh, he doesn't want to
you don't want to acknowledge.
I mean, did they?
He doesn't want to
They made that
it
one
happened,
movie.
Dude, it happened.
They made that one movie. How they squeeze all that to that one movie?
Grimlock was in movie.
Yeah. It happened.
He didn't talk like that, but whatever.
So I know there could be a way to cross over dinosaurs and knights. I don't know. Maybe these knights rode dinosaurs back in the day. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that would be dope. I would say too though, this is my first time seeing a Silver Ranger as part of the main team.
It's still black, technically.
It's black.
Oh, is it black?
Yeah, it's just silver accents.
Yeah, because everyone's got silver accents.
Yes.
So where's his black accents?
Honestly,
it's
honestly,
there.
the core team. Yeah. Honestly, the core team, it's the same colors as Dino Charge.
Kyrie. It's the same colors. Some even suggested the idea, we'll just use the same cast as Kyrie and just slap them in there.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's crazy. You can really see that that night thing because they all have swords.
Hey, Johnny, what is that, Johnny?
Oh,
is that Grimlock?
Oh, God, the pain's coming back.
You're right.
Oh, God.
You're right.
Oh, God, I'm reliving it again.
Don't worry.
Oh, God.
Don't worry.
Why was there no storyline? Oh, God.
No,
why was there a dragon as part of the Dinobots? Oh, God. Why?
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
It's cool.
Haley Stanfield will help us in about a couple weeks.
Honestly, I'm still excited. But the one thing the one thing I fear is when me and Johnny first started, we had Kamen Rider build, and then we had Lupat.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them was a little bit weaker,
Mm-hmm.
But Kamen Rider build just kept our morale up.
Yeah.
Then we got Zio, where oh my God, we'll get into it, but Zio, where we're just like, oh my God, this is a shit show.
Yeah.
Shut up. This is but then.
Lupat got a little better.
Lupat was looking, or I don't know if it got better, but he was looking better in our eyes.
Right. As a staunch Lupat liker from the beginning, and Zio disliker from the beginning.
So he's pretty much gloating. I was on the right track the whole time. Everybody agreed with me.
I will say this though, in the grand scheme of things, where Lupat's going to go down, again, as much as I'm appreciating it now, because we get towards the end, it will go down in the medium range, because it had a lot of potential to be one of the best shows ever.
Yeah.
But the thing about it was, but we've talked about this before, it's because they're trying new ideas, and this was an experimentation season.
Yeah.
That's the thing though, if you took this series, and by the time we get to the end of it, and you condense this whole series down from the 50 episodes we're probably going to get to maybe a solid 30, even 25.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah.
I would be fuego. It would be amazing. But the problem with this was the way it is now. There was a lot of wasted time. There's a lot of drawn things. Yes. There was a lot of bad things.
So you're saying with all these flat episodes, if they were really good episodes, the series would be, grade A.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the thing about this was that there's a lot of potential with this series, but they just made some missteps that I think when they get ready to do something like this again, they're going to realize. For example, the costumes look terrible. We've talked about this before. The Lupinrangers look amazing. The Patrangers, as much as you respect, you want to cheer for them, they needed more cop-based suits.
To be fair, though, the cop uniforms in Japan, they're not very
cool looking.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but I was going to say going with SPD where we've seen cops before.
Yeah.
But you're right, though. You're right. That was just based off the rare cop uniform.
So they're just basing it off source material.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's that. I think they were like, we just want to make them comedic because that's how they use them. So they gave them comedic suits.
Hey, listen. Let's just jump into this episode.
Yeah,
we're already in this. We're all in a Sentai headspace. Lupat headspace. Let's just jump into this episode of Lupat.
Gosh.
Okay, so this had some
twists and some turns.
Man, Destra leveled the city.
Dude, he destroyed the city. It was like Dragon Ball Z style, straight up Vegeta and Nappa crashing on the earth.
And then they never really go back to it.
They don't.
Yeah.
And they don't even have Dragon Balls to wish people back, so those people are just gone.
Yeah, they're like,
those buildings are done. It's a wrap.
Not gonna, they're having a celebration towards the end, but they never go back to them leveling the city.
Yeah.
It's like,
exactly.
It's Angel Grove all over again.
It would have been terrible if they're all celebrating, they're all cheering, ting, and then they cut all of a sudden and just oh my God, why did this happen? Why is no one helping us? See you next week, everybody.
So we kind of get the sense that Destra is on his last leg in the last episode. He is going all out. He just wants, he wants to be the next Dom.
Yeah.
But I like this episode a lot. I like Destro. I love the beginning of this episode, him stealing the Ranger pieces and everything like that, and then using their own collection pieces against him.
He had empty pieces, so he had empty lockers. So.
And then we finally saw that girl fight. What's her name?
Go Geija or something. Yeah.
Sure. So her name is.
That's how I remember.
So here's the thing. When showed up, she's actually legit. I was upset she hadn't been firing the whole time. Because she has those Gatling things hanging right there. And then she starts shooting at him. I'm like, this is sick.
Yeah.
And you see the Rangers blocking bullets and stuff. I'm like, this is amazing. Yes. She could have been the Scorpino of this series we needed the whole time. She should have been jumping out and messing up the Rangers left and right.
Yeah.
And so I'm legitimately disappointed that she didn't do more throughout the series.
Well, I mean... We're probably going to get a few episodes with her since Destra's gone now.
That's the thing. Yeah. This is the thing. The show, Madame Gouache, thank you, Blackwing. That's her name. This is the thing.
Can we keep calling her?
Are you saying something?
He is singing her theme song.
Oh.
This is where we are currently at with these runs.
Nagami had brought up regular uniform for traditional uniform for Japanese police. Right. So I mean,
I get this is a little bit more accurate as opposed to SPD.
Sure, yeah.
But it's also at the same time, I mean, it's also not sexy. So it's
it's comedy. They want to make them look silly.
Here's where we're at though with the show. This is as a certain popular trailer for a franchise movie that came out this week. This is the end game. We are
all wrong about that new Avengers title too. We'll talk about that later. But I thought it was also wrong.
Assemble Forever, Alliance, nothing. Anyway,
it was just end game.
But we're at this point now. We're already once you destroy a lieutenant like Destra.
Yep.
Oh, it's on.
This is like a video game. It's like Destra, for Mortal Kombat fans, Destra is Motoro. Motoro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Goro too.
Yeah. Well, Goro was low end, but anyways, yes, they're going up the chain. So next up is I think next up I think is who do you think it's gonna be? Is it Zamigo or her?
But see, that's the thing though. So I did seriously think this was a bad episode. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I love the Zord fight at the end with the CGI was sick and everything.
Surprisingly good.
I was up there why don't we use this more often?
Well, the Zord's a little clunky. I'm not a big fan.
Design wise, but use in action.
Yeah, when we used the CGI, it was doing spin moves and blocking one. I was like, this is dope. But the thing that kind of got me here was I was just when they defeated him, I didn't feel that sense of this was a big challenge for the game.
No.
Because the thing about this was that you're right, he's the lieutenant, but it's going back to your Mortal Kombat example. When you play Mortal Kombat, you are going through that level. You're fighting with first you start with Sonya, you go to Johnny Cage, boom, 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 and you're falling down, going back up and whatnot. But with this one, he just kind of showed up towards the end and took 2 episodes and they defeated him. Low key, they kind of defeated him last episode, and so I didn't feel that struggle because they go back to for example, Gokaiger when we go against
Tamales.
Saleh.
Oh, Bosco.
When we defeat Bosco, that was something that had to be earned because you had to keep. He was a non-step threat, and then after Bosco, we still had the Prince and the King. Here, while I do agree with you, it was that lieutenant. It was just
So you're saying lackluster, exactly. He didn't live up to that.
He didn't live up to hype.
Here's the thing: I'm not saying I think it's great because we're at the end game with him. I think it's just the first sign of we're wrapping things up. And so for me right now, I agree though that this is a character that should have been explored, built up way more in his time on the show before his death. Like Damalis, you remember who was the direct lieutenant under Wall's guild in Gokaiger. Mm-hmm. He was essentially, when you watch that show, you think, oh, he's the guy who's going to backstab Wall's guild. Mm-hmm. That's the deal.
He's like Starscream.
Yeah, you think he's like Starscream or like Destro and G.I. Joe. And then when you see his real reasoning, then you're like, oh, there's a lot more to him than that. And now he's pissed.
Yeah.
So you're not getting that same vibe from him?
Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. No,
he's the yes man.
Yeah, he's like he's the
sound wave. He's the sound wave to him.
And there's so much more that he could. Funny enough, right? Sound wave. Yeah, a little bit. I can see that. There could have been more to him too, especially the way how the Dawn is upset at his destruction.
Yeah.
So there's like definitely a really close connection with these two.
Exactly, which we could have been explored like earlier on, like those early like.
But did we?
No, like for example, pretty much I always go back to is between episodes like 8 through like 22, where it was just like a lot of like, where we just kind of fell into like this old hat thing before things started getting interesting when Noel started like showing up. Yeah. And so I kind of feel like back then he should have been around like a Goldar type.
Can we
showing up, beating up the Rangers, like being this nonstop threat?
Can we go back to Noel's little predicament in this episode? What's stopping? Why did he kind of like?
Oh, she has the collection piece he needs.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. Like, so when she shows up, he freezes for a minute and he starts panicking because he's always like calm and cool, collective.
Yes.
But right there, he starts freaking out because it seems like she has the collection piece that he needs because she showed that power.
Yeah. So, but not just Noel knows it, but also Katarage. They know something.
Kogre?
Yeah, Kogre, because he goes to go find him and says, "Hey, stay out of this fight. You were like, we need to both be hands off on this because it's gonna get messy."
It's this weird thing with Noel where I think we've all agreed that like Noel has been underdeveloped. Noel still hasn't had like a clear episode of that's who the character is, and we're getting closer. But I always feel like we got closer, but you guys still haven't told us anything.
Yeah.
No, and that's the thing too, though. Like with your 6th Ranger, you want it like your extension Ranger, like the 7 in this case. You do want to like keep a little bit of sense of mystery, but you also feel connection to them. We know what their driving force is. Again, to go back to like Tommy Oliver, like when he showed up as 6th Ranger, you're like, oh, Tommy's a loner, but he's the attitude, but he's reliable though. He's always going to be there. Or Guy from Gokaiger, again, he's the hero. He's the one who's like has the hope of the team. With Noel, it's just like you have a secret. There's something that you're after. And you're kind of low-key playing them all the time.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that's my biggest problem with Noel as a character is that like he's defined by I have a secret when the story remembers it. He does, and I like to say French words, and I'm very light and I do, and hello, and then like
and I switch powers for no reason.
It
has actually many benefits.
When I think of Guy in Gokaiger, the best thing about Guy is that he is a character who on the surface comes out as, I get it, he's the fanboy know-it-all about Sentai, but then what adds depth to him is he's the cabin boy.
Yeah,
he's the new one, and he doesn't have the experience, even though he's got crap load of power. He doesn't have the experience as everyone else, and so when you learn that he's the cabin boy of the Gokaigers, then he clicks in my brain. And here Noel is like mostly, if you look at that image right there we have on screen, Noel's mostly the top image.
Yeah.
I'm the hello, adieu guy. Noel's never the bottom image unless the show remembers, backstory.
Yeah.
And even then, they feel like, we have to hold on to it till. Like, no,
what are you guys holding back for?
Yeah, like, just go ahead and let it out. You only have how many episodes left?
Like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
That's the thing, we're about to wrap this series up, and the thing about this is that they haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah.
Because just think, let's be honest, the Christmas episode, while the Christmas episode will hopefully be fun, it usually is.
Yeah.
But the thing about this, though, it's not usually a plot point episode. Yeah. So the thing about this is that we don't have that much time, and that's part of the reason why I feel like this series is going on is like kind of mediocre. Because, again, it could have been so much better. Yeah. But it's having a lot of problems, right? Well, it had a lot of problems at the beginning that held it back, and now they're trying to wrap everything up in these last 5 episodes.
Yeah, they're really like pushing to push the story forward.
I just realized what I can compare the show to.
What?
Fringe.
What?
Fringe?
Fringe on Fox and everything like that.
Yeah, okay.
Where it was Casey from Dawson's Creek.
All right, I'm curious.
Casey, yeah. Okay. So because, again, Fringe started off with a lot of potential in that first season. Okay, this is going to go awesome. If that's how this show started, it was like, this has a lot of potential. But then as you started going to like season 2 and 3, where they started getting convoluted stories and plot holes started developing, things that make sense, that's where it went downhill. And then we get to their very last season when they were getting a council, like, look, we got to wrap this up. We got to wrap this up now. Just give all the answers. And so it's kind of those situations where it starts with a lot of potential, falls through and fly in the middle, and then the end is getting good because you're finally giving all the answers that you should have been giving earlier on.
Another cool
thing.
We got a
super chat.
Thank you so much for your super chat. And you say, and on Super Mega Force, Orion was fill in the blank.
He was new.
Yeah.
He's an alien.
He ran fast.
And he's not Guy from Gokaiger.
But yeah, so thank you so much for Batusi for that super chat.
And he should drink.
Because honestly, that was the reason, like, again, that's part of the problem with, like, Power Rangers, is that, again, Guy was such a well-developed character, Gokaiger was such a well-developed series. Like, I honestly feel, if they had just done what Gokaiger did and translated it to the American, bringing back all these previous Rangers, having them all go back and play, it could have restarted Power Rangers. Because you would have brought back all your old fans and everything.
Spawn is cheap.
Spawn's cheap.
Spawn is cheap.
Spawn's cheap. Oh no, I'm getting mad about Megaforce again.
They'll send you to a peace conference.
One more cool thing that they pushed in this episode is there's obviously a connection between Kairi and Kiichiro, like just even just looks, or they're trying to build something as far as like, it's beyond just you guys being enemies or pests to each other. You guys are connected and you guys have the same goal.
Yeah.
One of the major plots is that they're gonna use each other, but they flipped it on us, which I thought was really cool.
That was super cool.
I thought it was really cool. I don't know if they gave a look to each other and just that look.
That was like that instant conversation.
Just that look was like, hey, all right, so we're gonna let you open that thing.
So dope, so shonen.
And then we use the one thing that we always love love talking about is on the show is the Magnum, and we use the power of the Magnum to push them through that freaking thing.
That's so bad.
That's how powerful that gun is.
That was so bad.
That's how powerful that gun is. It's just like, it's like a freaking rocket. I'm just gonna keep shooting.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep shooting. I'm gonna break through this little force field you got.
And there's always
I wonder where all those bullets went though.
Oh yeah.
Just like went through a couple more buildings, and someone's like, "Why is this happening again? Oh, why?"
Listen, they did say that the city was 92% evacuated, so we're good.
Okay, all right, we're good.
People are fine. But no, there was always something cool when that's one of the fun things about the show, and I will say for me, it's fun when they switch tactics.
Yeah.
And like here, like you said, it's like this moment where it's like Kyrie treats the situation, does a thing that Keiichiro would have done. Keiichiro does a thing that Kairi would have done. And it's super cool.
It is, but I have problems.
Man, can't you just like it? All right, what was it?
It's the writer in me. I'm sorry. Because there's a spot for good storytelling, and you should have stuck to it. Because here's the thing. This is my problem with it. One, I love that eye scene was like, what would you have done? I love that whole respect situation. Was like, he'll get up. He's not going to give up. I was like, that's right.
Yeah, that's great.
And then you guys go into the fight and everything like that. But the thing about it was that Lupinranger did a lot of the work here, got a lot of the cool moments. It was dope when Patranger showed up and stole the piece and did something that was a little bit sneaky and whatnot. That was dope, but again, it wasn't balanced. And that was a problem here, is that throughout this series, Kiichiro has always been second banana.
You're seeing it all wrong, man. You're seeing it all wrong.
Okay.
There's a reason.
I know. I already know. I already know where
he wants him to live up. He wants him to live up to these expectations. He doesn't have to do this because he's the Grand Lupin. Like, he doesn't have to do this. He's looking for, like the Don is looking for a successor. He's looking for a successor.
Oh my god!
And he's looking for it in Kyrie.
I love this. Kiichiro is the Grand Lupin theory. I love it so much.
And I keep saying I'm slowly being convinced.
Every week he convinces me more and more. But going back to that first episode we had when they faced off against each other, and Kyrie won. Back when it was like really early, episode like 14 or something, 16. I said then, they've shifted the balance, and you have to shift the balance back to where they're equal, because you have to have two strong Red Rangers. Because ever since then, there's been one dominant male Ranger, and Kyrie's been walking around cocky and sure. The thing about it is, had they made this thing where it's like they were actual rivals, and Kiichiro had gotten the best of him and defeated him like later on, it would have been like down this balance. Kyrie has a little bit of doubt in himself. He has a little bit of like doubt in himself, a little bit of confidence, and then we get to this moment. There's more of a stronger mutual respect here. But
Kairi and Kiichiro, it's like an Obi-Wan Kenobi Anakin kind of dynamic. Like one is obviously skilled, Kiichiro is obviously skilled, but he's by the book, and it's not. It's definitely harder to write those stories out.
No, and like if we've probably pointed out a lot with this show, especially near the end, it's like they've always had to struggle with that, and I'm not as bothered about it as you are sometimes. I've definitely caught that. I think I like the use of Keiichiro and the Rangers a lot more than both of you guys. I'm not here to defend it too much, because I also don't have a lot of evidence that's like, hey, no, you're both wrong. It's like, no, it's kind of there, but I guess it doesn't really affect me the same way, because when they do these episodes, they do it really well, and I like the characters enough that I can enjoy the moment as is. Whereas I can definitely sit back and go, oh, the villains are a problem. Like that's a thing where I'm like, I can definitely accept that and be like, the villains are a problem and they're not that great.
But all in all, I really enjoyed this episode. It is like top, as far as the Lupinranger versus Patranger episodes, this is one of the top ones.
It's and that moment when they team up, and this is where I feel like, this is the thing where I feel like the show is really successful at. We're this many episodes, and I never if I can be real honest with the high concept, I could have sworn by episode 20 they give up on the versus angle. I totally.
They are taking it to the end.
I totally thought they're not gonna keep the versus angle. They'll be friends by like 20 episodes.
What if they keep it all the way to that and they never figure out who the
That'd be amazing.
What?
That'd be amazing.
Because technically, I mean, really, they can work together now without knowing each other's identity, without knowing their identity.
Sure, they
could.
did this episode.
They established that in this episode that they do not need to know who they are.
That's the strong thing about what the show's still doing right now is that we're 40 episodes in, and they never made me falter to think they're not gonna figure it out.
Yeah,
they've maintained the tension. They maintain the versus angle long enough to never make me feel like, oh my god, I get it. Move on. It's like,
and that's framework for future Sentai shows.
Yeah,
it is.
No.
And I kind of, my own personal theory is I think by the end they'll acknowledge it, but it'll be like a wink.
Yeah.
What it'll be like?
It'll be like, for example, Batman, Dark Knight Rises was like, oh, I like your name. You should go buy it. Robin. Oh!
I think it's gonna be like this.
I hope it's better than that. I
think they're gonna be like towards the end.
That
it's gonna
drove
be
me nuts.
the end fight, right? They're gonna have the end fight, and they're gonna get rid of all the ganglers. Everybody's gonna be at Juror, and Kiichiro is gonna go up to Kairi and be like, he'll be like, "Come on, good work out there, Lupin."
Or we've been bad A. If like after the whole thing ends, they're like walking off or whatever. The Lupins are on the ground, and then Kiichiro just like, see you back at the restaurant.
See, that kind of reminds me of one of my favorite angles they do sometimes, where it's like sometimes they'll do a storyline with Gordon where it's like, oh, Gordon of course knew.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah. Gordon of course knows that Wayne's Batman.
It has to know.
Yeah, and I love the idea when it's like, oh, he figured that out a long time ago. Yeah. But of course he's not gonna tell anybody. So that could be a fun angle to do at some point. No, it even wraps up nicely at the restaurant. That it does feel like there's like, hey, good job, everybody.
Yeah. It's like, hey, we deserve a toast too. Let's go for it.
Exactly.
So I really like this episode. What would you guys rate this episode?
Okay, so let's get our audience rating going.
Yep.
So start putting your ratings in the comments below. We're going out of 7. We're going out of 7.
7.
Start down with you, Jess.
I'll give it a 6. I really enjoyed it. The Zord fight dragged a little bit, and I wish we could have got more, like in the last episode where Destra was like really kicking ass.
Yeah.
I wish we could have got a little bit more of that. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'll give it a 6.
I'll give it a 6 too. I feel like it's when the show really gets dramatic highs and really like gets these moments of like we are definitely teaming up. There's no other option. This is our only goal this is the only way to defeat this. I love it when the show does that. And I feel like the show usually nails those moments the best for me. So I'll give it a 6.
Johnny?
So here's the thing. If we think way back when, on one of our previous shows, when they first all came together, you guys might remember that Kiichiro was in the same room, same like Zord compartment as Kyrie, and they dropped him off for the Pink Ranger. Remember, I was upset about that.
Yeah.
And but throughout the series, what I didn't realize, and I realized today as I watching it. So the last time they all came together, Kiichiro or Kyrie are in the same Zord compartment, but the rest of the 2 Patas are together and the 2 Lupins are together. This is the first time that it was like there was a Pata with a Lupin and a Pata, exactly for every single one. It was like, oh. This was slow pacing. You guys were just trying to think this out. Take your time with it.
I like the other one where was it Tsukasa and Toma?
Yeah.
Where they're just like,
Exactly.
That was great. It's just
that was dope.
That was good. That was cool.
And then with Yellow and Green, they're like, oh, what is going on? You know, definitely different dynamic.
So because of that, I'm like, I see what you did there.
It's like, hey, we snuck up on you, Johnny.
Exactly. I'm like, I gotta give you some respect. And again, just had this been living earlier, had this been like episode 30, like episode 28, I'd be like, ooh, these last 20 episodes are gonna be fire.
Yeah.
But this is we're basing it on the impression of how we think that the show is gonna end.
That's true.
Yeah.
True. But based upon like where it is right now, not trying to be different, but I totally agree with you guys. But 6.5.
Nice.
I
Dang. So let's go to the chat.
What we got?
All right. So Thomas Franco gives it a 5.
Boom.
Altorius gives it a 7 out of 7.
This shows the epitome of a wasted potential.
Does that mean you... Wait, so I'm a little confused. You gave it a 7 out of 7, but that you didn't like it?
No, he said 7/7, but it's an example of wasted potential.
Oh, okay.
Kind of we've been saying it's a great show, but it could have been better.
Okay.
One episode was amazing. Why can't the rest of the show be?
Yeah.
Sure, okay.
Explosive Phoenix give it a 7 out of 6.
Or 6 out of 7. Just might get switched up right
6
there.
out of 7 maybe. Layla 7 out of 7. This was the best Lupin episode. Probably one of the best Sentai episodes. Wow.
Really? Yeah, see,
Really? Okay.
High praise.
Blackwing gives it a 6 out of 7 because it's hands down the best episode of the entire season. Lucia 6, J Boss 4.5, Bat 2Z. I didn't watch out of 0 out of 7.
Well, thanks for showing up.
Yeah, Explosive Phoenix says correction 6 out of 6.
There we go.
6 out of 7.
There it
Lupat is Lupat.
It's getting better out of 7.
Yeah.
Johnny Mero 7 out of 7. So yeah, like
Wait.
everybody. What?
He says, also hope to see 2 of 3 Megazord battles in the Rock Quarry in the last 1 episodes of Lupat. Oh, okay.
Oh, sure, why not?
So everybody is pretty.
Pretty all digging
It's a
this
very
up.
positive rating.
Positive
We got a
feelings.
couple more that just came in. Anthony Davis gave it a 6 out of 7, and Edward Sanchez Production gave it 7 out of 7. And by the way, shout out to J Boss. He hit me up earlier with a quick message on my Instagram. He was like, "Hey, he just let me know about the information I leaked about the new Sentai series."
Yeah.
And so it just helps us like stay on top of it. So, thank you for that. So
You know,
again,
also
thank
a good way to keep inform us on stuff.
Yeah.
THS hashtaggers.
Yeah.
So
THS hashtaggers, our own personal like Twitters, Instagrams, and again, this is a great place to interact with you, like in the Facebook group, or just hit us up. So thank you for that. It makes you a part of the show too.
So going from a positive note to a negative note.
Wait,
What?
I just realized.
What's
What?
that?
So we're about to talk about Zio, right?
Yeah.
And okay, wait. So here they do Zord battles. That's how they kill the monster.
Right.
How do they kill monsters in Zio?
In Geo? Well, they have to go back in time.
Well, no. How do in Kamen Riders? How do they defeat monsters?
Normally it's just like, are you talking about like a rider kick?
Oh, kicks! It's time for Johnny Dope
Oh
Kicks!
my
Whoa!
Are you kidding?
Producer Nagami, let's get it going!
What are you doing?
How did I set him up that bad?
So,
Like,
what am I
easy.
wearing this week?
I knew where he was going with.
Oh, this is the Jordan 1 Chicago KO edition. Inspired by what? That's
Show
right.
me.
That's right. By the Spider-Verse movie coming out this Friday.
What?
Oh, so it's an awesome
What are we
sneaker.
doing?
Is this
Very
a thing we're
comfortable.
doing like every week now?
And guess
are we-
what? Coming out this week, you can get the actual
What?
Spider-Verse sneaker.
What?
This is what Miles Morales is wearing in the movie. It's going to drop this
Oh my
Friday
God.
at most sneaker shops.
Is Nike
Foot Locker,
paying you? Nike's not paying you.
Foot
What are you
Locker,
doing?
Foot Action Champs. It's only $160, and it's so cool. It has this clear sole that's awesome, and it's amazing.
This isn't even Kamen Rider related.
If you
Chad's
get the
like, what the heck,
chance,
man?
go check out again the what's called the Jordan 1 Origin Story.
You're gonna do this like every week? What are you?
What are you talking about?
What happens when you run out of shoes?
Yeah, what happens when you run-
Sometimes you come in here with slippers. You gonna show your slippers?
I ain't never run out of shoes because I'm Johnny Dope Kicks. Okay, back to Kamen Rider.
Oh, what the hell? Okay, so Kamen Rider Zio.
What?
Yeah, he's still.
Sorry, no, I'm just like,
It's fine. It's fine. I don't know either, man. I knew what he was doing, and I slowed down.
Johnny Dope Kicks.
Kamen Rider
I'm looking
Zio.
forward to Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse, so I mean, hey, fair enough.
Nike sponsor that hashtag. I wish.
Please!
I wish.
Please, because that would justify doing that. I don't know. All right.
Kamen Rider Zio. So this one focused on Kamen Rider Ghost.
Go!
Ghost. But earlier in the season, Gates had a ghost watch already, right?
Yeah,
He
he
did.
did.
Yeah.
And he didn't. We assumed that. Well, I guess we're not getting a ghost episode because, like, you know,
Yes. What's up, Johnny? You look like
you have
you got something to
questions.
say.
You have questions.
I have questions.
Please,
Okay, go for it.
ask them.
Okay, so first off,
Yeah.
Nagami, why is Gates continually getting?
Worse?
Why is he continually getting beat down? Every episode. So here's a picture of Gates getting beat up right now. So why is it every
That's
episode?
not Gates. That's Yamcha.
That's Gates. That's pretty much what Gates is right now.
No, that's-
Every episode, he's getting Yamcha'd. He's just consistently taking L's. Why is this continually happening to Gates?
That's Yamcha.
He is not a good cop. That is Gates right there. Do you not remember that from episode 3? That is
No.
Gates.
This is a totally.
I
different
like
show.
that you. I like that you made him a verb. He got yamcha'd.
Gates got Yamcha.
I don't. Well,
man. Is this the first time you've seen a second writer that's this incompetent?
Ooh. Get back to me on that.
Oh,
I gotta
man.
think on that. That's a
Oh,
good
gosh.
question.
He's kind of terrible. Now here's the thing. Going back to my
Audience, you write it here in the comments and you say, who do you think is the most incompetent secondary writer? I'm curious about that. I gotta think on
He's
that.
a weak secondary writer.
my next question. So here's the in this episode, we had another writer was pretty much like the brother of another character, and so he saves her life,
yeah.
and then he gets offered the contract, right? And so he's like, no. Because he's a police officer. He's a hero. I was like, I don't need the contract. He's like, too bad, and forces it on him anyway. So here's my question then.
Yeah.
If the time jackers don't need contracts to make their other writers,
Then what-
why
yeah.
do they even bother asking?
I mean, that's probably the first time that this has
I
happened.
think it's the second time.
This is the second
It
time?
feels like the second time, yeah.
He looks like a wrestler.
Oh yeah, he looks.
Loki, I will say this: the one thing I did like about this episode, it did look kind of
he
cool
dresses
to
like
me.
AJ
Yeah.
Styles.
It looked like Pumpkinhead or something like that.
Thank you. Yeah, Pumpkinhead meets AJ Styles. I can see that.
Yeah. With a little there's a little venom. His
Tad bit.
eyes are a little venom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So pretty much
answer?
this
No.
is the second time. This is the second time.
I feel like the second time this happened.
Okay.
So it's like, what's the point then? Because the other guy doesn't, he just forces on people. So what's the point if you just force it on people? Why not just go to like the best martial artist in Japan, force it on him? It's like, cool, go beat up people.
To bring this new dynamic that you can't just destroy this another rider because they're gonna die.
Side note, Blackwing.
It's like pulling life support.
It's like side note, Blackwing. I just saw you mention D End. Yeah, it's true. I really hate D End. He's a really
this
terrible secondary
brings
writer.
definitely a different dynamic. You have to kind of think about, what are you sacrificing really?
Yeah.
Okay, second question. I'm sorry, guys.
Third question.
This is a third question. I have a lot of questions this episode because this thing was kind of terrible. By the way, notice I've got no answers because this is bad. They're writing themselves to holes here. Next one. If the time jackers can freeze time and they can stop our hero riders and everything like that from moving, why don't they just kill them? The heroes literally can't do anything. You can literally freeze time, walk into their houses and kill them, or just steal their belts or do any of these things or steal the watches.
It's kind of the same thing with like OG Power Rangers. Rita knows who they are. Why don't you just go to their house?
Really?
What?
They do have laws.
Yeah.
We do have laws.
Okay, I'll give you that one. Wait, but then Wash join. Okay, I'll give you that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, my next question, number 4. How does the other writers doing this random stuff, like stealing people's souls or starting Fortune 500 companies, put them in the running to be king?
They're looking for some type of potential in them, I guess.
What else are you gonna use?
He's all right. What's your next question?
Yeah. How many more do you got?
Yeah.
About 10.
Oh my God.
All right.
Okay.
Power through, man.
Okay, next one. Why aren't the heroes more proactive?
Okay, next question.
No. Going back to Build. Build was always proactive. They were always doing something. There was always a goal. We literally started this episode with Sougo sitting in a park, and he happens along the villain. It's like, if he's supposed to be king in the future, why aren't Gates and...
Yeah, Build always was
Gates
like 5 steps ahead. Build was...
Tsukiyomi and Gates.
Sugiyama, thank you. Yeah, why aren't they actively trying to change the timeline so that's to prevent him from becoming king? Or, again, like trying to stop these other riders and whatnot?
I don't... Next question. There's honestly some of these are just like...
This is episode 13. Can we go back to that graphic real quick? Like, this is episode 13. I'm 3 episodes away of confirming if Junichiro is the villain of the show.
Really?
I said in episode 16. This is episode 13, I believe. I have 3 episodes to see if my prediction's coming through.
I'm still saying Junichiro is future Sougo.
Still fair.
Okay, next question. Okay, so next question. And Daniel, please bring up that poster I asked you to find earlier.
What?
Which one?
So here's the thing. There's a point where Tsukiyami's looking on her future iPad, right?
Yep.
She's like, it's dangerous for us to look up future information. And like share this and whatnot. Why is it dangerous to do that if your literal goal is to change the freaking timeline? Like literally from Terminator 2 style, your goal is literally to prevent the apocalyptic future that you have set up. So why would it be dangerous for you to share future information right now? Because literally by you stopping these other writers and whatnot, you are actually changing the future.
Yeah, but you don't...
Producer.
No, I mean, you really don't want...
Why is Biff here?
Oh, also, that's another example where you're trying to change the apocalyptic future, so you go back and you change the timeline.
So they don't want Sougo to see the future. They don't want him to stray from the original, like, because time is very, it's a messy thing. Like if you try stopping one thing, you can't like pinpoint the exact moment, where, like, you're gonna explore his mind, you're gonna explore Sugo's mind, and just like through the timeline, you're gonna explore Sugo's mind and find out that one tick that changes, that one exact moment that changes in Sugo's mind, where he goes from Sougo to Omazeo.
So here's the thing, great question. So here's the thing, though. This is what I thought about for this series, because we all commented how we don't like Sougo, right?
Yes.
And but Sugo's like, I'm the hero king and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Would it have been better if Sougo was an a-hole?
Yeah.
And so you actually have this a-hole who
That'd
gets
be
his power,
interesting.
and now Gates and Tsukiyama are like, well, we can't kill him because he's too powerful. So from the get-go, they're like, we just need to train him to be a better person.
Yeah.
And so throughout the whole series, it's almost like The Good Place, where you're trying to take this guy and make him a better person. So you're actually trying to actively change the timeline that way. The second thing I point, and guys, I'm so sorry for this, because here's the thing. This was my breaking point. I'm sorry. This is the point where I got put through the table, where I was like, this is making no sense. You are not thinking this out in the writer's room, and you're just slapping stuff together every week, and I'm feeling upset about it. Because here's the next thing they got right here. Why Why are you not proactive here? You realize that they're literally going after past Kamen Riders. If you have that database, again, if this happened in the past, you can literally look up who every Kamen Rider was. Should you be proactive and going after them to protect them or get the other Rider keys or any of these things?
How many of them are there?
Justin, how many past Riders are there? No, just main riders. Now we're talking about the second riders, but just like the main.
Yeah, no, but they
20. There's 20 riders. You can't find 20 people. Our team's 32 every week. How can you not do this? It is not that hard.
But wait. They targeted not just primary riders. They targeted what?
How are you gonna protect 20 people constantly?
No, listen to what I'm saying. So you're saying listen, just wait. Listen. So you're saying, 20. So it's even more than just 20. It's like 60 or 70 because they're targeting not just the primary riders. Mm-hmm. So there's no way to protect all of them.
You're right. So here's the thing, though. I totally agree with you. You don't have to protect all of them because you already realize that from each rider, you have to get that power upgrade or whatnot. Okay. So the thing about it is that you just identify them and go make contact with them. And guess what? Like we talked about with Gokaiger, they went and got the power upgrade each time.
Okay, so then, what is their plan? In your eyes, what's the grand plan? What are they gonna do?
So the grand plan should be once you realize that pattern of them going after past riders here, you simply map out all the past riders and go through them each one at a time.
While the time jackers are doing the same thing?
Well, no, but yeah, if you start doing this, you're going to prevent the time jackers. You're going to start to be proactive, at least trying to be ahead of the game. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But that's just my opinion. I may be wrong.
Okay. All right.
Justin,
how's everyone doing? Everyone's feeling good? Yeah. All right, Johnny, did you get that out of your system?
I'm sorry.
You still got some more.
I'm sorry.
All right. Now.
I'm sorry.
Now. All right.
Go.
What do you think?
I don't disagree. Now.
I knew it. I told you.
Now, like I said before with Joe, enjoyment I get is, all right, what little niblets of writer tributes are you going to give me that I'll just suck up with a straw and enjoy it as my one thing that I can enjoy
as a
Kamen Rider fan. So, with this episode, I will say that Ghost was fine. Ghost was a show that I was more okay with than most. A lot of people don't like that show. Okay. I was okay with it. Tsukasa, who is Kamen Rider Decade, who's in this episode. Mm-hmm. I like the use of him in this episode. And it goes back to that problem of the show. I know who Tsukasa is.
Yep, we were having this conversation.
Mm-hmm. You two do not. Mm-hmm. Yes. And the show does not do a good job of explaining
not at all.
Who Tsukasa is. So allow me to educate.
Here you go.
Tsukasa was the lead of Kamen Rider Decade, which is the 10-year anniversary show 10 years ago. Mm. What Geo is now. So Tsukasa was the version of that show back in 2010. So he was the lead in that show. Mm-hmm. Destroyer of Worlds. He traveled through different dimensions, and he had the ability to turn into different Kamen Riders. Mm-hmm. The confusing part is that he wasn't really turning into exactly the other Kamen Riders. He would turn into their suits, yes. But the worlds he's visiting are alternate reality versions of their shows, which meant they made up every rule they went along with and decided to come up with stuff that doesn't really make any sense in the world they're currently in. I'm not a fan of Decade either, folks, so sorry. I'm going to let that out right now. So in this episode, you brought up earlier when we were talking about the show, he turned into two other writers, and they are Kamen Rider Agito and Kamen Rider Hibiki. Mm-hmm. Hibiki was the one we just saw.
Yeah.
And so right now, Tsukasa's role is gun for hire for the Time Jackers, and I think that's a fun use of the character.
Because he has all those powers in his hand.
And he can jump around through time and dimensions and such.
Yeah, okay.
Tsukasa's, in a weird way, from what I've sort of watched, I haven't watched all of Decade because that show kind of bugs me in ways that it drives Johnny insane.
He's actually the perfect villain for the show.
He is.
He is.
He is. No, he's a perfect villain because of or antagonist until when he decides I'm going to switch sides.
Yeah.
He is the perfect use. His use in the show, I think, will be really fun for Rider fans. I don't know about you two.
Well, I mean, just from knowing like his power set, he is the he's the perfect writer. Like, not even maybe not a primary antagonist, but he's gonna stir things up, especially.
Yeah, and actually, Blackman pointed out, Decade is a mess with show, but I love Decade's character. I actually agree. I started watching the show more, and I realized like, oh, I kind of like the cast, and I kind of like Tsukasa. I hate the show they're in.
Yeah.
And the amount of times I talk about Decade with one of my friends, I realize like, I kind of wish the Decade cast was in the Zio show, and they would use their storylines because I like Tsukasa is more interesting of a character for me. He's
he kind of a jerk?
He's a little bit of a jerk. He's a little aloof. He doesn't know what his deal is, but he's kind of fascinated with the world he's walking around.
Yeah.
There's another character named Natsumi who is kind of like his like frustrated guide through each dimension they jump into. They also have an uncle. I mean, that's just like it's a thing in these shows.
Yeah.
Not always, but man, do they really like that thing? They really. I mean, that goes back to Kamen Rider of the past. Like Tachibana is like the famous like mentor character in Kamen Rider, so they like to play with that trope of having a character who's kind of like the mentor or the older figure. And so in a way, Tsukasa in this show, there's a secondary writer in his show called Kamen Rider The End, and in a way, I kind of see that he's sort of playing the same role The End played, which is a guy who wanders in and out, has his own mission, wants to screw around and mess up our hero's plans, and then does his own thing. I think that's where they're going to use Tsukasa, and honestly, that's a fun use of the character. Yeah, go ahead.
I would say, like, when he showed up, that was the one thing I really liked about this episode.
that was the one
He was
enjoyable
cool.
thing.
He was interesting. He was using all his past.
Oh,
Like,
Natsumi's
who's the
grandpa,
guy?
sorry. Older guy. There. It's an older guy, all right? Like, I'll get specific. Go ahead.
And so I loved that about him, everything like that. My only critique is, as I was watching this episode, I was like, the thing that sucks about this is, though, everybody doesn't have a Justin. If you're watching this for the first time, it's not like everyone can just take out their cell phone like, hey, Justin, it's
But
me again.
based off the chat, a lot of them know a few Kamen Rider shows.
But no, I'm just saying in general because like general rule of writing is that you want to like treat every issue like it's your first issue.
Yeah.
And so with episodes 2, you want to be able to set it up so like your established fans or your new fans can both be supported.
Right.
You leave Easter eggs and things like that in there for your like established fans, so that you have some things like, oh, well, if you watch that, you would get that. But then you still make it easy enough for like new fans to jump right in. Yeah. As someone who's like just starting like this Kamen Rider journey, that was like the main problem with the series so far. Is they're jumping into a lot of stuff, and I don't know who these people are, and I don't know how important they are.
No, and that is the biggest problem with the show. Like, like Ghost is in this episode. You don't know anything about Ghost. Why would you be happy about any of the characters that show up in this thing? Nope. As a guy who's seen Ghost,
I thought they were a good trio, or like they kind of worked well together.
Yeah, they looked interesting. Yeah. I want to see more of them.
And hilariously, like they're not even the main. Like him, like Ghost himself, like Tsukasa. I think it's Tsukasa. There's a lot of Tsukasas in these shows. But the main Ghost, main character Ghost, like that's not even those other two guys. They're not even the main leads. They're not even in the main supporting cast. They were like fourth and fifth supporting cast.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was like the main writer.
No, he is the main writer.
But he's saying the other two.
The other two guys. They were not even like, they're like the fourth and fifth like supporting cast member.
Okay.
They had two others who are like, I love, by the way. I think they were super fun. Those characters on his show. I'll have the gall to say it. My favorite female lead in a writer's show was in Ghost.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Is it her?
No, it's not her. I don't know why they didn't invite her. She's really good.
Did she become a writer?
No, but the character is such a fun character with her own motivations, her own goals that have nothing to do with our lead. And she was funny. She was smart. She had a bunch of really great moments in the show. I loved that character. Her name is Kairi, by the way. Okay. So I really love that character. And then he had a supporting character named Onore, I think. And he was great, too, and he was funny, he was enjoyable. None of these characters came back. It's the other guys who are in the temple with our main writer, and with Ghost, and they're fine.
Yeah, they're like
How long ago was Ghost, by the way?
2015. That's 3 years ago.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And they mentioned it in the
Yeah.
But they mentioned it on the show that they were chasing the writer for 3 years.
Well,
Takaru, thank you.
Well, no, the reason why I was asking is because like when I look at the main actor, I'm like, they put a lot of makeup on him.
Oh, really?
So I was just looking at him. It feels like there's like he's been done up. So I was like, was this show like 10 years ago or something?
That might have been a choice though.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
You just might really like makeup. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
Maybe he's doing K-pop.
Yeah. That show had like 3 writers.
3 writers?
That show had 3 writers. Yeah, like in which that was another situation where like one of their secondary writers got more interesting storylines than.
So with this, he has the power. He has the power to like communicate with like another plane.
Yes.
You talk to ghosts like Ichigo from Bleach.
Yeah, he can talk to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Except they also do a weird thing where in his show, like, he can also tap into historical figures throughout time and gain their abilities.
Oh, like Eternity Boy.
Yeah. So like he turned into Musashi.
Abilities like what?
Like, you know, if he's Musashi, then he can become a samurai.
Okay.
Sorry,
If
I
he's
mispronounced that. Kid Eternity.
Oh, you're right. My
Yeah,
bad.
Kid Eternity's a DC Comics hero who can literally like talk to. He died.
I haven't thought about Kid Eternity in decades.
Kid Eternity's dope.
That's awesome.
He's one of those characters I always keep in the back of my mind. Like if I ever get a chance to write for DC, like who do you want to write? I'll take Kid Eternity. But he's a really cool kid because he dies ahead of his time, and so to make up for it, they allow him to send him back to Earth, but they allow him to like talk to any ghostly figure he wants to.
Yeah.
So he can tap into like so one day he'd be playing catch with like Jackie Robinson. He can like go and talk to like Abraham Lincoln and get speech advice and all this type of stuff. So he's just a really smart, cool character.
Yeah. Kid Eternity, you can read that. It's a pretty cool book. I've read a couple issues. It's good. Go ahead.
So was there any like cool things that you know, as a huge Kamen Rider fan, that you pulled out of this that you can take away?
Not in this episode.
Not in this episode.
I feel like right now,
And
like
then that's how the first parters usually start.
like with Ghost, it's okay. Like I feel like I honestly, as a bigger Geim fan, I felt that the use of Geim in the last episode was really wasted.
Yeah.
Other than Baron, which I'm glad to see that like both you two were like, oh, that guy was cool. I went, yeah, no, he's cool.
Yeah.
Their main, it's a bit of a waste of the main writer who I liked in that show. This one, it's fine, and it looks like they're building up to something more interesting for episode 2. But as a guy who likes Decade, as a guy who likes character Decade, not his show, I'm excited for the potential of Tsukasa, and maybe they'll do something cool with him. I don't know.
Maybe. Like keep him around a little bit longer.
I think that'd be rad if he's like
amazing.
a recurring character on this show.
I think so too. I
Yeah.
think he might be fun.
What's up?
It's just, oh man, I really.
Go ahead.
I started off a lot of high hopes for this show. And
I
really
know you
liked
did.
it.
Because of the time travel.
Yeah, but the thing about this was that the reason why I got excited is because this gets like the writer, the educator in me. I was like, cool, I'm gonna get a chance to get educated about all these cool shows and whatnot. But the thing about this was that like. Again, we're not doing that. Again, thank you, because by you hearing this, you're filling the gaps for us.
Yeah.
But I remember, again, watching Go Kyrie. I watched Go Kyrie with, like, a couple friends. We had never seen it before, and we just, like, watched all those episodes and had a great time. And by then, we felt like we learned about Sentai, but also made us interested to go watch other Sentai series, which I started doing. With this one, I'm not getting introduced to anybody. I don't, like, get introduced, like, their story, where the struggle was, like, any of those interesting things, some plot points, learn a lesson from them and everything like that. And I kind of wish in this show we had, like, an ignorant character who would ask these questions if our main cast isn't. And Sougo seems like the person for that.
And none of but they're not using him in that fashion.
He'd be the perfect role.
Because again, he's naive. He's just like, oh, what's going on? But again, he's also kind of like this weird jack of all trades. Like the fact that he's so powerful, he's able to beat Gates on a daily basis.
Yeah.
There's no real rivalry there anymore. It's kind of a joke.
Pure talent.
Yeah, and it's just like, and so. Yeah.
Well, that's how we feel about the episode. How do you guys feel?
how do you guys feel about the episode?
What's the audience review score out of what? 5 face watches?
Five.
Five watches.
Out of 5
How
watches.
about you? We'll start off with you, Johnny. Oh man.
I think you know.
Okay, so we're going with the 0
I need to
for
hear it.
1. Okay, all right. You're a
Here,
little...
the reason why is because again, like this was my breaking point, and again, my apologies for yelling and going on that rant, but it just kind of hit me. And the thing about it was like when it came down to it, the show has a lot of potential, but with time travel, there's like you have to establish rules for your story.
Yeah.
Time travel is really flexible. You can do whatever you want to do with it. Like as I gave you those examples of T2 and like Back to the Future.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is within that set like story that you're telling, you need to establish the rules. And if you're going to like just go willy nilly, do at least that towards the end. But right now, it's just. It doesn't feel like there's no stakes here because it feels like at any time you can freeze time, go back in time, do all these different things. So it doesn't feel like there's any real stakes for me.
2. No, 1 point. No, 2. I'll give it 2.
Yeah, I'll give it a 2.
2. And I saw Black Wings like no. Johnny needs more than a legendary shift. It needs to be within the narrative to explain what world they're entering, and I don't think this show does that.
No, it's not. It's also just the characters as well.
Yeah.
Like I just came from Banjo, who's an amazing secondary writer, and now I got Gates, who started off like I'm gonna be this bad A. I'm gonna be your Vegeta. Like I'm gonna be the guy who just like let's kill everybody type deal. But instead, he's getting Yamcha'd on a regular basis.
Yeah.
He's standing around like he's Vegeta, but then he's getting Yamcha'd on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, like come on. And then Tsukiyami is really cool. I actually like Tsukiyami more than I like Geiz.
I definitely agree with that.
I would love if she was the other writer.
Hell yeah.
Who knows? Okay, so Anthony...
We know Waz is becoming a writer at some point, so there we go.
Anthony Davis gives it a 3 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
J-Boss, 4 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Explosive Phoenix, 3 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Layla says Tsukasa Hero Time out of 5.
That's fair.
Blackwing gives it a 4 out of 5 because Tsukasa was throwing hard hands at Sougo and Gates. Yeah, she's trying to hold it down. Kevin Duane says Kamen Ride Decade out of 5.
Decade.
Champion, 3 out of 5. And Alteria says, I honestly forgot to watch this episode out of 5. And Lucius, a 0 out of 7.
Because he doesn't watch Kamen Rider.
Yeah.
So,
thank you for watching this.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
You guys, thank you so much. I mean, another Kamen Rider Zero that we got through.
Yeah.
You guys, thank you so much for joining us. Where can we find you guys on social media? You
can find me at JohnnyP313 on Instagram, Twitter, and Gumroad. You can see my books there.
You can find me on Instagram at Justin Quiz, Twitter at Justin Quizon. All my podcasts, you know where they find me. We don't have time for me to do my usual spiel. Jezzer?
You can find me on all social media at Jezzer Zeus. You guys, thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday night for our episode of Henshin Hangout.
Henshin Hangout.
But thank you guys so much for joining us again. We'll be back next week. We want to hear some of your comments and stories on what you thought about today's episodes. So hit us up on THS Hashtaggers. And as always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to keep up to date with everything trending
on Geek Pop Culture.
Bye, guys.